This is Observer of Anomalous Objects, and I want to welcome you to my channel. Today I'm going to do a real short video. Something hit me last night that I thought I'd share with you, and maybe it will help you as you kind of deal with the job you're working with right now, and you wonder why you're there and whether it's even important. But I want to take you back to about 16, 17, 18 years ago. I had left ministry and I was done, got frustrated. Hardest part about ministry is people, and the best part about ministry is people. But anyway, I had left ministry, and so I took a job at Waste Management, and I worked with a gentleman by the name of Keith. Actually, I worked with two Keiths. The first one was taller, and we called him Big Bird. But anyway, for the 3 years I was there, it was just hell on earth working with Keith. And he'd always tell me that I didn't belong there. And so his idea was to make it miserable on me so that I would go back to ministry. I don't know if that was just an excuse to be mean or just not be a nice person. But for years now, realize I've been in my current ministry for about 14 years. I've always assumed that the reason I was at that job for those 3 years was to toughen my skin. And that could be partially true. But something hit me last night that made me realize that there was a whole lot more going on than I was really thinking about. Something far more significant than just getting my skin toughened a little bit to be able to deal with criticism and deal with just difficult people. But I was just thinking about it last night. I don't know why in the last couple of months I've really been thinking about extraordinary things that have happened in my life, and maybe when you get to my age you just start reflecting on those things. But I thought about something that happened when I was working there, and like I said, I feel like this was far more significant than just getting my skin toughened. But there was another gentleman by the name of Keith that worked there, and I would just call him Keith number 2. And we first year I worked for Waste Management, I ran a front loader, and then eventually got on the transfer station. The reason I wanted to go to the transfer station is I did not like the hours of a front loader. We literally had to get up at 1:40 in the morning and be on the road by about 2:30, and those are just not my kind of hours. So I got on the transfer station. That's where I had to deal with Keith number 1, difficult Keith. But anyway, there was a Keith number 2, and we would work in the transfer station. And just to give you an idea of how the operation worked, the transfer station was elevated, and then down underneath the bottom of the transfer station was a little tunnel that a semi-trailer would go into with a little Bobcat truck that we had that would tow them around. And then the garbage companies would bring their trucks up above and fill them up, and we'd take them out. But anyway, on the would be northwest corner, there was an opening in the wall of the building of the transfer station itself, and I never could quite figure out why it was there. I know it was about 8 to 10 feet down, and there was a concrete plate there or slab, and I never could figure it out because it was too tall to be for a truck to load, and there was no road for it, and I never could figure out why in the world it was there. But we had a safety chain across it. And one day Keith was leaning backwards against it, which means that his body was facing into the building and his back was facing to where that opening was and to the outside of the building. And I was probably about, I don't know, I'm thinking 30 feet away. And all of a sudden I heard that chain snap. And then all I remember was hearing Keith say, "Dale, help." And you could just, I remember seeing the kind of terror in his face, because he knew this was not going to be good, because if he fell over the side, he probably would have either died, broke his neck, or been seriously injured. And I don't know how to explain it, because I don't remember exactly how I got from there to grabbing a hold of Keith's leg. The way he described it was that I was like MacGyver, that I just all of a sudden took off running, and then I just leaped through the air, and I grabbed his leg. And as I grabbed his leg, he was falling over backwards into that open void. and he was able with his left hand to grab part of that broken chain. And so between me holding his leg and him holding that chain with his left hand, we were able to keep him from falling over and, like I said, either dying or being seriously hurt. He would tell me later on that he felt like I saved his life. I don't know if that's true or not, and it doesn't really matter. That's not what this story is about. But it was kind of remarkable when he told me that, because one of my challenges is I have short legs. I mean, even way back when I was in grade school, I don't know if some of you remember this, they used to give out the Presidential Physical Fitness Awards. And I was in really good shape. I could do the push-ups, the pull-ups, and everything. But there was only one test I could not do, and that was a 50-yard dash. It made me so mad because I was in better shape than my sister, and she got it, and I could not run fast enough in the 50-yard dash to get the Presidential Fitness Award. So you have to picture, this is many, many, many years later. I'm about 190 pounds now, still have the same short legs. And so how in the world did I cover that 30 feet or whatever it was in such a short period of time? And it may have been more, but I remember it just seemed like a forever from where I was to where he was. And like I said, I don't know if it was instinct. I don't know if it was adrenaline. I don't know if God just gave me an extra boost or whatever it was, but it just seems strange that I was able to do that. Now, here's the reason I'm bringing this up. For years, when I thought about my time at Waste Management, I felt it was about toughening my skin. But last night, it really dawned on me that maybe God put me there at that job so that on that day, on that exact day when that chain broke, when Keith was falling backwards out of the building, that I was put there for that day, for that one event. And you know what? If I was, it was worth it. It was worth it, because what if I hadn't gotten that job? What if it wasn't me there? What if it was somebody else and maybe they'd left and gone somewhere else? I mean, you could make the same argument with me that God had me exactly where I needed to be when I needed to be there. And so I just want to encourage you, because I don't know what your job situation is. I'll be honest with you. I did not like working for Waste Management. It was all pressure all the time, and they're not an easy company to work for. The benefits are great, but they're not an easy company to work for. So maybe you're in a business like that. Maybe you're in a job like that. But just remember this. Maybe God has you there for a reason. Maybe you were born for this day or for this job, that God's got something for you to do. Maybe it's not going to be something as dramatic of pulling a MacGyver and running through the air and trying to save somebody's life. Maybe it's just a simple word that you're going to share with somebody who's out of hope. Maybe there's something that God's going to give you for some person in that job in some way where you're going to make a difference in their life and maybe actually save their lives as well. So I just wanted to share this interesting story with you. Also, the other thing I'm doing is I've been having some trouble with lagging. And so I'm trying a new setup here to see if this will help with it. Anyway, you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.